I think we shall start. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends. It is a great honor to welcome you to today's panel session, Alatau City, the future is now. My name is Jandos Shaymardanov. I serve as the Vice Minister of National Economy, and I'm delighted to moderate this timely and forward-looking discussion. Today we are gathered not just to speak about a city, but about a future and a vision for how Kazakhstan will respond to the future, not with hesitation, but with ambition. We are living in a time where countries must anticipate, not just react to global transformations. In this context, Alatau City is Kazakhstan's bold response to the future. It is our attempt to build not just a new city, but an entirely new economic, urban, and technological ecosystem. Launched by the initiative of the President, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, Alatau City is designed to be a city of accelerated development, where we will experiment with next-generation regulation, urban innovation, and breakthrough technologies. One of the pillars of this vision is the low-altitude economy, a new frontier in urban mobility and logistics that will transform how people and goods move. Today we have our panelists and our special guest, special and distinguished guest, Mr. Kanat Bozombayev, the Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Mr. Bozombayev leads the project office for Alatau City development in the government, and it is an honor for us to have such a high-level panelist today. Also, we are very fortunate to have with us 4 outstanding speakers who bring deep experience from Singapore, South Korea, the United States, and of course from Kazakhstan. Let me briefly introduce them. Mr. Wong Hyung-Fine, the chairman of Asia Infrastructure Solutions and chief consultant for Alatau City's master planning and development. Mr. Moon Park, partner and head of digital public at KPMG Korea, a leader in digital investment strategies. Mr. Raslan Madiev, Minister of Digital Development, Innovation and Aerospace Industry of the Republic of Kazakhstan. And Mr. Stefan Baral, Director of Corporate Development at Joby Aviation, a pioneer in electric vertical takeoff and landing technologies. We will begin with keynote insights from each of our speakers, followed by an open Q&A session. I encourage everyone to listen, not just as observers, but as potential co-creators of this bold new chapter. Now let's begin with the first question. Mr. Wong, you have advised and helped design some of the most innovative urban developments across Asia. Given your experience, how do you see Alatau City positioning itself in a world where every city is now competing for talent, capital, and ideas? What ingredients are essential to build a city that not only functions, but truly inspires?
Well, first of all, thank you, Vice Minister. And of course, I'm so glad that I'm here today, because as some of you know, I've been working on this project since 2019. Yeah, so I know this project in and out. I think, Vice Minister, I think you're absolutely right. Today, there is a very strong competition among special economic zones worldwide, yeah, for foreign investments. So for Alatau City to compete effectively in the world today, you need to build a unique ecosystem, an ecosystem that is friendly to investments, as well as an opportunity to create a new urban lifestyle, yeah, which will offer the inhabitants a new way of living. Let me just explain a bit. What do I mean by ecosystem? Ecosystem is where you have a legal framework that is based on international law, ability for people to own properties, whether they are local or international, as well as all the economic incentives to encourage foreign investments, as well as local investors. So this is so important that you must build that ecosystem. A lot of cities in the world today we see do not take that integrated approach to build an ecosystem. Some of you are businessmen and you know exactly what I mean. If you are incomplete, you will be very difficult to compete against other people. So in my view, for Alatau city to compete well, you need a special administrative zone and not just a special economic zone, because it's going to envelop a lot of things that is beyond economics. So that would be my advice.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. I think you are absolutely right that for implementation of such an ambitious project, we need not just a special economic zone, but probably the special administrative zone and many, many other exemptions in terms of regulation and further development of the city. Thank you again for an inspiring start of our session. Your remarks remind us that cities today must compete like companies, and that Alatau city is being designed from the ground up to be globally investable, smart and sustainable. Let us now move to the next speaker, Mr. Park. When cities and governments compete for global companies, it's no longer just about offering tax incentives. It's about creating ecosystems that Mr. Wong already mentioned, where values flow both ways. In your view, what does a give and take strategy, investment model look like in practice, and how might Alatau city apply this mindset to become a magnet for strategic investors?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jandos. It's my really pleasure and honor to be here as part of Alatau City project. And based upon my experience working together with Korean global companies having advanced technology, so I'm supposed to combine those value chains of Korea or global companies' value chain together with Alatau City. What you mentioned about the give and take strategy and what's the uniqueness or what will be the uniqueness of Alatau City to incentivize global companies. I think we need to, just simply speaking, we need to give them some short-term benefit, and then we'll take long-term and mid-term economic growth strategy. So that's basic concept should be. What I mean by short-term benefit for them is many global companies, they are not just a governmental agency or public agency. They are pursuing profit. They are pursuing sales. And those executives at present are not the CEO itself or owner themselves. So they want their sales. So I think incentivizing their needs, demands right now, we combine their needs with our infrastructure budget of government or Alatau City, then we'll give them some opportunity of, for example, robotaxi. If there is an AI taxi or robot taxi business right, then give them as a business right. Then we'll take the advanced technology ecosystem, like UAM industry can be the good example, or AI industry with the UAM and robotaxi needs, sensors, 5G or low Earth orbit satellites, or AI algorithm softwares. So all those advanced technology ecosystem can be bundled together with those global companies who are coming into the Alatau City. So give them short-term benefit, and we take long-term and mid-term economic growth. That should, if that is the philosophy of Alatau City, then we can be equipped with uniqueness compared to those in Vietnam or Indonesia, previously 20 years ago, China, They have ports, and they give tax exemption, they give land, and they are well off right now. However, following them should not be our strategy. Our unique strategy should intentionally and precisely trigger the needs of global companies, short-term needs, and we take intentionally the long-term and mid-term benefit of ours. So that should be the give and take strategy, I think.
Thank you very much, Mr. Park. Your insights were a strong reminder that we must design policies not for investors, but with investors, through frameworks of mutual benefit and shared growth. The give and take model you described resonates especially well in Kazakhstan, where we seek not just investment, but long-term partnership and technological exchange. Your examples give us much to reflect on. Thank you very much again. And now let's shift the conversation from strategy to systems and look at how the regulatory and the technological backbone of Alatau city is being shaped. My next question is to Minister Madiev. As Kazakhstan moves to build a next generation city, the role of regulation will be critical, not as a barrier, but as a platform for innovation. Could you share how we are rethinking digital and sectoral regulation to enable Alatau city to become a true test bed for bold ideas and future technologies?
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting to this beautiful panel. And I would like to thank all the speakers for being part of it. And yeah, that's a huge, important infrastructure project that we currently have. And there are several options of developing it. One option is just to wait until it's just going to be organically developing on its own, building up the city as we did in the past, like the capital city Astana or Turkestan with the state capital. The other option is to create an effective platform, FDI platform for foreign investors. But for that, you definitely need a certain competitive edge in order to promote those private and foreign investments into the city. And in order to have this step function change in the regulatory landscape as well as technological landscape, it's cumbersome and lots of work needs to be done on changing the regulation and legislation, and maybe even the constitution. So there should be a number of characteristics in order to have this distinction to make the investors to come to that city. First of all, to have a special economic zone for the entire city. Plus, maybe you need the regulatory framework that you have in Astana International Financial Center, so that you can expand the AIFC regime to the city. English as a language maybe should be the main business language of the city. You need to promote crypto and foreign currency to be a legal tender in the city. You need to allow foreigners to purchase real estate in the city. And that's how you are building institutionally the strength of the city and competitive edge. So having all these changes, we believe that it will boost the city to grow as a business hub, as the healthcare and education hub, trade and logistics hub, and tourism hub, and to be the capital of the Eurasia region, so that the companies and businesses who want to trade with China, one of the largest neighbors, they should do it through the Alatau city. Those who want to trade with the Central Asia have to do it through the Alatau city. Even the youth who wants to be somewhere like not in Dubai in the future or in Turkey or somewhere else, we want them to dream about Alatau city. So, but we need to do all these regulatory changes in order to provide the regulatory framework to give this impetus for development. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Minister Madiev. You highlighted the whole ecosystem and of strategy of Alatau city development, and we see now that the development strategy should be not only smart but agile in terms of the regulation. And one of the most promising of these frontier industries is, as we see now, is aerial mobility. And our next speaker is one of the world's leaders in this space, Mr. Barral. The idea of vertical takeoff vehicles flying above our cities once sounded like a science fiction, but today it's becoming true and our reality. From your perspective, what role can new cities like Alatau play in accelerating the adoption of urban air mobility, and what practical steps are needed to make this vision part of everyday life?
Thank you, Sandos, for the invite to this panel. I'm excited to be here in Kazakhstan. Before I answer your question, I want to talk a little bit more about Joby Aviation and what we actually do, but then also convince you that what we are doing is actually reality and not too far in the future. So Joby Aviation is a company based in the United States, California, with around 2,000 employees. And what we do is we build fully electric aircraft that can take off and land vertically like a helicopter, which has the benefit that you need minimum space to land and to take off. But then the aircraft can actually transition into wing-borne flight, like an airplane essentially, which is pretty amazing. It doesn't exist yet in the world. Before I talk more about the product, I want to talk a little bit about our founder and CEO, Joben Bevert, because if you want to achieve breakthrough innovation, you need inspiring people, which is the most important piece. So Joben Bevert, he grew up in a small city in California without electricity. He had to walk every day from his school bus stop to his village for a couple miles when he was a boy. So he was dreaming of, I want to have a flying car that is electric, that can bring me from my bus stop to my home. But back in the days, battery technology wasn't far enough yet, far enough advanced. So he decided not to pursue it and essentially worked on other products. He created 2 successful startups, sold them, made money with it. In 2009, so 16 years ago, he founded Joby Aviation with his own money because he saw that battery technology is advancing rapidly. And since then, he started to build a company. At the beginning, he invested his own capital. In the meantime, we raised more than $2 billion from investors around the world. Our leading investor is Toyota, the Japanese car company, who invested almost $1 billion into Joby. Delta Airlines, Uber are other investors. So what we do is we build an aircraft that is actually piloted. So it's not autonomous, it has a pilot on board, and it can fit 4 passengers in the aircraft. And the aircraft, how it's designed, it has like 6 propellers. It takes off and lands vertically, and as soon as it takes off, the propellers transition into forward flight, and then the aircraft flies forward. So a couple benefits that come with that. First of all, it's fully electric, so it's really silent, right? There's almost no noise. So I recently heard someone say in the future, today we are used to hear airplanes but not see them. In the future, we will see airplanes but not hear them, right? Which is kind of our vision, right? But then there's a couple more things that are really critical. Because it's electric, there are significantly lower operating expenses, so it's more affordable for everyone to use it compared to helicopters. And then a very important piece for us is actually safety. So if you compare our aircraft to a helicopter, our aircraft has 6 propellers. Each propeller has 2 motors, and then we have 4 battery packs on the aircraft. So we recently did a test flight where we stopped 2 propellers and the aircraft flew like there wasn't anything happening because the software essentially helped steer everything and the pilot didn't even feel anything. So now let me switch gears to talk about how real it is. Because it might seem it's 10 years in the future or something like that, right? We have already developed and built 6 aircraft. We fly those aircraft every day in California. Everyone is invited to visit us to see it fly. Most recently, we have been the first company in the world who achieved a full transition flight with a pilot on board. No one else has ever achieved that with an electric aircraft. And recently, just a couple of weeks ago, and Mr. Kim and Mr. Sergey's team have actually seen that because they visited. We had a tandem flight, so we had 2 aircraft flying next to each other, one piloted, one remotely piloted. So it's pretty close, right? We are at the end of certification. Luckily, aviation is a very regulated industry. That's why it is so safe, and we embrace safety. But we are at the end of certification, hope to launch commercial service as soon as next year.
Thank you very much. You gave a very detailed description of the aircraft, and I suggest to our audience, if you are interested to see this aircraft, you may go to the first floor. There is an exposition and stand of Alatau city, and there is a small model of this aircraft, and you can see with your own eyes. It's better to see it with your own eyes rather than listen, and maybe you will be more proponent of this new aircraft and low altitude economy in the future. So before we proceed next to the Q&A session, I would like to give the floor to the Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Kanat Bozumbayev, to give his own view and vision of Alatau city development. Kanat Olebigenish, the floor is yours.
Добрый день, уважаемые дамы и господа.
Good day, dear ladies and gentlemen. I would like to say briefly about what we are currently doing in our project with Alatau city. You probably know that we have created special economic zone on the territory of Alatau. The total area is more than 90,000 hectares. Last year, we created the system of governmental bodies under the order of the president on the territory of Alatau. We have created Akimat and other structures, including sanitary services and departments and emergency department, police, etc., and all other necessary bodies. Last year, under my order, we have created the office which is working on Alatau city, and all the representatives are already engaged in this work, including our developers like Caspian Group and Mr. Wong as our advisor and advisor of the head of the state. We are working with him in cooperation in project office. We have 3 working groups. First is on territory questions, second on perfecting the legal regulations, and the third group is working on investment. In all 3 areas, we have made good progress. We have signed the general plan. Last year, it was elaborated with the help of company Surbana Jerom. Mr. Wong helped us a lot with that last year. Currently, we are working on amending this plan. 36 new investment projects are in our pipeline, and 14 of them are currently being worked on actively, and the total amount is about $2 billion, and more than 20,000 working places are going to be created. Moreover, as soon as we finish amending the general plan, as soon as we have planned the territory correctly, allocating the required areas for the companies, we are planning to finish this work by June, and this plan will be approved additionally. Later this year, we are going to work on detailed plans on each micro-district and district. We will work on feasibility studies and design projects. Moreover, currently, we have just heard from Mr. Wong that this is not just a separate and special economic zone. We believe that Alatau city must become and must gain special status. Why are we aimed at that? We would like to attract investment. We know that this is the second year PE has demonstrated growth, and it was an outflow, and this is one of the points of growth where we can change the situation. For that purpose, the local administration, Akimat and Caspian Group have signed an agreement with CRDI company. It's a China Developing Institute, one of the most recognized design institute in China. And that was as one of the reasons for the success of one of Chinese cities. We believe that the city will gain the special status, and it is important for us to attract the investors from Southern Asia. We have created the best conditions for them, the best investment climate. There are a lot of things that we have provisioned there, the non-visa regime, so that foreigners can arrive more actively. You probably know that people can buy real estate in Kazakhstan only as soon as they have the documents. In July and August, we are planning to finish the engineering project on main engineering networks on all areas of the city, and specifically in the points of growth of the city. And our domestic project institutes are working on this project. We are attracting foreign companies, design companies, because we are aimed at implementing international standards so that investors could build their factories in accordance with international standards, so that they would not waste time on adapting the projects to our Kazakhstani standards. We believe that by autumn, the general plan will be completed, and the project of detailed planning will be completed as well. The projects of all the networks will also be completed. We will understand where the pipes for heating go, where the watering pipes go, and that will be all made with figures and approved by documents. And we guess that the next step will be investment step. We are going to make the roadshow in cooperation with Caspian Group and Akimat and the government, not only aiming at the South Asian countries, but also the Middle East. Our city is of high interest. For many years, there were attempts, but for the last 2 years, we have been working on this project very actively. We believe that this city will be a success. This is briefly just to give you a general vision on what work we are doing now and what we are doing in the project office, and our colleagues have arrived here today. We usually work with it very actively. And first of all, I think that we should move on to the Q&A section. I would like to ask the question to Dr. Wong. Dr. Wong.
Step or stage we need to do for create new opportunity for investors in our country, in our city, especially foreign investors. Could you explain for us?
Well, thank you, Deputy Prime Minister. I agree with you. I think over the last 2 years, we've made tremendous progress in terms of the development of Alatau City. So DPM, I think the next step is to take it globally. As you know, we recently did an event in Singapore where over 400 Chinese companies attended our event. So it has been rather successful, and I think in June, probably there will be a trade delegation from China. So you're getting a lot of traction in China, and I hope more roadshows, DPM, can be done where we can showcase Alatau City. And frankly, the concept of low-altitude economy, a lot of countries are trying to do it, but unfortunately, they have a lot of issues to try and implement. For Alatau City, we are starting from a greenfield area, and that is why I share DPM enthusiasm that this project will be very successful, because it enables a lot of investors and a lot of technology, creative people to come and sandbox their project, where in other countries and in other cities, it is not possible. So I share DPM enthusiasm that this project will have a great future for not just Kazakhstan, but for Central Asia. So when we did the master plan, our hope and our aspiration for Alatau City is to create a hub in Central Asia where we can collect the most creative and the most talented people in Central Asia. So it is a very exciting and a very interesting project. I know over the last few hours I was in the exhibition, some of you have some reservations. And I can tell you that when Singapore was first formed, everybody thought we couldn't survive. This year, we are celebrating 60th year of independence. And we are still growing. Our economic growth are strong. And in a lot of the projects that we did worldwide, whether it's in China, Indonesia, India, as well as in Rwanda. This morning you heard the president of Rwanda. If you Google YouTube, the capital city of Rwanda, Kigali, is master plan and is done by us. We specify everything that can be built in Rwanda. And today, any of the African leaders get elected, the first place they will visit in Africa is Kigali. And the next stop is Singapore, because they can see that some of our thinking in terms of urban planning and in terms of long-term planning for economic growth are very applicable. So I hope today we share with you this enthusiasm. And I'd like to encourage more questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. We should definitely visit Kigali and other cities that were built under your supervision and under your leadership. We have smoothly proceeded to the Q&A session, and I strongly advise you to engage directly with our distinguished guests and speakers. So if you have a question, I see the room is full, and there are probably many questions. And yeah, I'll give the floor to Mr. Kim. The first question we will provide to.
I don't have a question. I just remark.
Can we give a microphone to Mr. Kim?
No. Just for this remark, forgot that's a very important strategic partner. First of Financial Institute, Alatau City Bank. But it's the first step because we don't wait for another biggest investors. We national investor, and we planning invest for $1 billion US for the first step for the other off-take contract for the properties. Yeah, just Mr. Wong, you forget the.
Thank you.
That's a very important point, and you've probably seen the recent days the news about the rebranding of Rusam Bank to Alatau City Bank. And thanks to the work that was done by the government, the municipality, we see that there is a high interest from the investors. And in comparison with many other cities which are developed from scratch, this city, Alatau City, will be developed mostly driven by private investments. And we see the first partner, Alatau City Bank, which will be financing the development of this city. I think it's a very good signal for investors. And now let's proceed to the questions from the audience. Raise your hand. Please kindly introduce yourself. I ask you to ask questions in 2 minutes, and our responses will be in under 3 minutes. Please.
Thank you very much. I'm Marie-Laure Salle. I'm the director of the...
Я являюсь директором института. Спасибо большое за этот проект. Я бы хотела узнать больше про правовое регулирование и как это должно быть соединено, как это все должно быть объединено с регулированием системы Казахстана в целом. И
On what kinds of things are you working on? Thank you.
Can you also mention to whom you ask this question?
Well, Deputy Prime Minister, I guess that would be for you.
Ну вот я несколько слов.
Well, I've already mentioned that we are going to change the status. We are going to implement the status of the special economical zone to the Alatau city. And one of the issues is, of course, the issues of the justice system. Well, we understand that jurisdiction and the justice system, the legal system, is very important. Yes, we are enhancing those issues, but at the same time, one of the options could be having disputes between governments and investors and partners to international jurisdiction. We have a precedent. We have created Astana Financial Center. They have independent court with high reputation. Well, it's one of the options for litigations, for disputes resolution. So we are conducting this work together with our advisors and consultants, both with economic and legal advisors. In near future, you will hear the exact answer, but we know that in order to have superb investors, we need to make paradigm shift. This is something that we are going to work on. Singapore many, many years ago, Shenzhen, for example, in China, London, for example, they have gone through this path, and we're analyzing and benchmarking nowadays, and we're trying to see the path they gone through. So,
And to increase the best practice in this area.
Thank you. So you've heard the strong commitment to change the environment, the regulation, and let's proceed to the next question. Pavel, can you bring the microphone? On the back? Microphone, please. Pash.
Hello, my name is Pavel. I'm CEO of Most Holding. We focus on venture investment. And you mentioned a lot of theses about foreign investors. Kim mentioned national investors. So there is big national investment, there is small investor like us. We invest venture capital, small money into high growth potential companies. What should we take as a step to participate in this kind of initiative, and what's the role for the national investors in such projects?
Whom do you ask this question?
To Mr. Wong.
Well, I'm not sure as a venture investors what you are looking at. But obviously, I think part and parcel of what DPM has mentioned in terms of the review of rules and regulation is really how can we encourage the different forms of investments, whether it's venture capital, whether it's real estate investments. So at every type of investments, we will be reviewing together with DPM what is appropriate in today's market. You must appreciate that in a lot of the sectors, things have changed. Consideration have changed. But one of the key things is, of course, there must be regulatory framework that will protect investments, protect IP, intellectual property, as well as facilitate transactions. So the basic laws regarding all this doesn't change, but the nature of investments will change. I mentioned low altitude economy and, of course, Chairman Kim is deeply invested in UAM. Yeah. Basically, that type of investments will require a review of what is needed because there isn't such investments in the past, but there will be in the future. Yeah. And which is what is exciting in Alatau City. You are venturing into areas which are new, which will provide new career path, whether you are a tech worker or whether you are a venture capitalist, yeah, in looking at new things. Yeah. So I think this will be the acceleration in terms of the economic growth of Kazakhstan. Yeah. You no longer will be just the traditional industry, but also new economy. I hope I answered that. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. I see one more hand raised by Razalic Shandosov. Razalic, can you bring the microphone?
As always, thank you very much for having opportunity to come to the session. My name is Uraz Jandosov, and our joint venture is the largest renewable energy producer in Kazakhstan. Thank you mostly to Deputy Prime Minister Bozombayev, who introduced the competitive market in 2018. I what just said. Deputy President, sorry, the Deputy Prime Minister. Sorry. And Vyacheslav Kim gave very good idea. We want to be a renewable energy partner of Alatau city because probably all energy should be renewable energy for new city. And basically on the border of the city we have 50 megawatt solar plant. You may see it on the road. Yeah, we talk. Yeah. But my question is a little bit tricky. Yeah, I don't know because if we want now to invest, whom we should approach exactly? Deputy Prime Minister, city Oblast Hakim, city Hakim, or my old friend Yuri Tskhai, whom we should invest for land? Because all investment starts from land. I mean, just simple question.
Razalic. No, first of all, I can recommend to our colleagues our project institute, which create new technological schemes, electricity, heating pipeline, water supply. You need more conversation. Renewable, absolutely right decision. Okay, just a few minutes ago, I will call because my phone outside, I think. A simple question. Second answer. Now, region, Akim of region, Oblast. Next year, after change status of Alatau city, maybe mayor of Alatau city, I think, like this. But if you want some business partners, you can be part of Caspian Group Empire. If you want to do separately, okay. Why not? Maybe.
Thank you, Razalic, for this very tricky question, as you mentioned. So let's proceed to the next one. I see many hands raised on the back. Can you give a microphone, please?
I have a microphone. Good day, everyone. Thank you for such insightful presentation of this outstanding project. My name is Roland. I'm a legal expert. And I have a question to His Excellency Mr. Park Moon. Based on your vast experience, what are the legal and regulatory mechanisms should be crucial and critical to Kazakhstan legislation system during the transition to a new legal system in this smart city of Alatau in the future? And what are the challenges that we need to bear in mind or cover in the future? Thank you.
Thank you. Before I provide my answer, I need to clarify that I'm belonging to accounting firm, not law firm. So anyway, yeah, what I got kind of a lesson from recent growth of Korea compared to other manufacturing industries, China. Many a case, Korea officials, when it's a director level or deputy minister level, they hear and they provide policy, manufacturing policy or innovation policy, digital policy, just in a limit that they can understand. So it's quite a problem. So I think recent impact from China, like electric vehicle invasion, global market, and DeepSeek, AI based upon the large language model, LLM invasion onto the other global market. That gives Korea, hopefully, good kind of risk sensing. So we need to let entrepreneurs to behave, as much as they can. If they want some business model, we need to let them have it. Korea thinks like that, and we are quite regrettable not doing that for last decade and before the time. So I think we need to let the energy of private sector people grow up as much as they can. Then coming back to Alatau, what kind of legal structure should be there? I think Kazakhstan and Alatau city should design your own. What I can retrieve from the other good case and bad case from China, Korea, Vietnam, Indonesia, we need to design not only the physically visible area, which lawyers are doing very well based upon the past experience and precedents, something like that. We need to see invisible area. We need to design that much. Just one good example will be behavioral science. Behavioral science is the basic fundamental of economics and psychology, marketing, and consumer behavior. So many city or industry, private sector, economic players' behaviors are based upon those behavioral science and experience. That's governments are doing. So we need to design that area, even though it's invisible, we need to see what's going on. We need to monitor, it's soundly growing or not. So this is very good time for Kazakh people to design visible hardware building cities and invisible entrepreneurship and interoperability, reusability of your assets, digital and hardware analogs. So it's your good time to design in integrated way. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Park. And I want to encourage you to ask a question from Stefan Baral. So raise your hand if you have a question for Mr. Baral, please. Yeah, I see.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Artem. I have a quick question for Stefan Barrow. Considering Kazakhstan's vast territory and low population density, how relevant is air mobility here? Can this model work in Alatau city and scale across the country? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I think if you are building a new city, right, like the opportunity to integrate new modes of transportation from the beginning is huge, because you can design the city differently from the start. One of the challenges with established cities is that it is difficult to find space to do things, right? So I think because of that, a city like Alatau city could be a really, really good opportunity for a low altitude economy, because it can be designed into the project, into the master plan from the start. So that's the first part about Alatau city. I think if you think more about Kazakhstan as a country, I visited Almaty recently, and I experienced that getting from the airport to the city is quite painful with the car. It took me, I don't know, 45 minutes or something like that, even though it wasn't far. And that's one of our benefits. Our vision is to save 1 billion people an hour a day, right? And I think the major use case is actually flying people from the airport to a city center. So if you think about Almaty, right, like there's the airport, and then I think we visited, for example, the Ritz-Carlton, which is more close to downtown, right? If you envision that you could fly people from the airport to that location, that would be pretty amazing. I think you would save a lot of time. You probably would make a trip that usually takes 45 minutes in 5 to 10 minutes. But then I also learned that around Almaty there is like very beautiful natural parks, right? Like I think the ski resort, Shimbulak, I think is the name, right? Like if you could use urban air mobility to bring people from Alatau city or from downtown Almaty to those natural parks, which could be also very interesting. I think more broadly, Kazakhstan is a big country, right? Electric aircraft currently has a limited range of around 100 miles. But our company, Joby, has recently built a demonstrator that was powered with hydrogen. So the same aircraft, just with a hydrogen fuel cell. And we did a record flight of 820 kilometers, sorry. So with that, you can envision that there could be even a future potential, right? And then you can connect cities actually with one another. So I think there is definitely an opportunity to create a benefit there for Kazakhstan.
Thank you, Stefan.
Oh, yeah, and I think also, like, thanks for mentioning it, Mr. Kim. I think also when it comes to attracting companies from the aviation space to Kazakhstan, right? I think in many of the aircraft components there is like natural resources like titanium, for example, right, and others. And I think there is a vast availability in Kazakhstan, right? So that could be another interesting piece for collaboration models in the future between aviation companies in Kazakhstan in general.
Thank you. So we see that there is a potential not only for the consumption of these aircraft, but also for future manufacturing and assembling of this new type of aircraft. So, and for e-commerce, yes. There are many, many different use cases for passengers, for logistics, for cargo, even for firefighting. So we are approaching the end of the session, and I want to give an opportunity for one more question, because I'm very strict moderator. So please.
Hello, hi. My name is Sapar. It's a very, very quick question. I represent International Center, Technology Center here in Astana. We're a subsidiary of Ministry of Ecology. And I have a question probably to Mr. Wang regarding the green technology that you're planning to use in Alatau city, for example, in construction building. If so, can you please share information, what will be the share of the green technology you're planning to use in infrastructure sector? Thank you.
Yeah, I think currently, throughout the world, everybody is trying to look at, what are green technology. So for Alatau city, because you are starting from scratch, there is every opportunity to ensure that new buildings and new infrastructure meets high standards of green and sustainability type of KPI. Yeah. So to me, I think there's a lot of opportunity So today, for example, we are also looking at concrete. As you know, making of concrete requires a lot of carbon. So there are now technologies where concrete are made with less carbon. And of course also in steel, for example. As you know, in Kazakhstan you have a seismic requirement. So this will also entail a lot of steelworks. So basically new forms of carbon absorption. There are quite a lot of technologies that we can utilize. And the beauty about Alatau city is that, as I said, you are starting from scratch, and therefore you are able to overcome some of the barriers towards sustainability in a lot of cities. A lot of cities have existing cement plants or steel mills that it's hard for investors to change overnight. But as a greenfield city, you have every opportunity that you can do. In terms of cooling and heating.
Если мы говорим про обогрев зданий, мы тратим очень много энергии на это. Неважно, где вы находитесь, в Китае, в Казахстане, в Сингапуре, всегда есть 2 сезона. И в итоге технологии, которые не были доступны в прошлом, могут быть воплощены в жизнь в Алатау-Сити. Я уверен, что Алатау будет следующим умным городом и будет городом, где много новых технологий, особенно устойчивые технологии, можно будет применять. Это замечательное время для новых инвестиций в город. Спасибо большое, господин Вонг.
Now, as we conclude, I want to thank all our panelists and the participants of today's session. I'm very sure that today's dialogue has sparked many new ideas, and I see that there are many potential and already existing active collaborators in shaping the future of this new city. And we discussed today not only the city, but the future. And the future is not some distant vision. In Alatau, the future is now. Thank you everyone again for participating and attending this session.